Today, I will demonstrate REDCap's project revision history. Um, First, I'll start with just some pertinent background on refresher information and how REDCap defines the data dictionary as the REDCap project structure in a downloadable spreadsheet file. The spreadsheet can be modified and uploaded into REDCap to make any data collection or survey instrument modifications. Additionally, the REDCap codebook here is a human readable type of graphical representation of the data dictionary framework. The online designer and any of its data collection instruments are basically an individual, and its individual components are basically is a representation of both. And so, importantly, the project revision history and the data dictionary revisions, we need to understand that those are independent functions, but they utilize similar framework and mechanisms. I will not demonstrate on the data dictionary revisions today, but I will move on and present on whether a project is in development or production status. REDCap will display snapshots of a project's instruments within the project revision history tab. So this is what we see here. Additionally, as a friendly reminder, it's important to systematically create snapshots of instruments when modifying a REDCap project in development or in production, and especially when more than one project user is designated with project design and setup privileges across a study team or sites. The project revision history tab tracks when the project was created, who created the project, and other additional statistical information through the table below when it's in production. Here we're just looking at development. For this data dictionary, we'll look at two snapshots and compare them. So let's see, Carol's changes occurred here, and we're going to look at and compare those two timestamps in time within the project. So 11/12, and no differences were found. So we're going to back up a little bit. Now we're going to look at something a little different. And so here we see some additional information. We have a table with all statistics. We have a legend to notate and identify what's being modified. And then we have a very nifty capability of downloading the CSV table to review those as well. I'll go ahead and do that and open it up. And here, can you see my Excel spreadsheet here, folks?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So here we have we have similar items, and we can see what was taking place within the framework of REDCap. We have field with changes, and we have new fields that were added. Additionally, it replicates some of the within the columns, and I'll call them fields for now, or the column headers. It replicates some of the other items that are within the table. Here we can see, for example, the section header. We're looking at the field type and what was changed from, if it was changed. Here we see that it was changed from yes or no to a radio button. And then additionally, the new fields that were added and the type of fields and the respective labels. choices, and then we see um, all of the other constructs within your data dictionary. So here we have, or go back to our legend. Here's just another view of it. So we're looking at it in more of a friendly format here. So they have, we're gonna look at this also. So in development mode, and similarly, I mentioned, I think I mentioned it before, that these are gonna, these same changes will display in production, and that the snapshots can still be compared equally. So we'll go ahead and download a data dictionary and then open that. And I'm going to review this quickly. And we see we have 2 record IDs. I'm going to delete that. I'll go ahead and delete that whole row actually. And file save. And then I'll come over here to the data dictionary link. I'll choose my file. Here's my file. I'll open it, upload the file. Oh, so we have errors. Excuse me. So this, okay, so back up a bit. And I noticed there were some branching logic errors that were displaying there, and we can look to see that these are, it's displaying that there's 26 fields with above and over and above 26 characters per field, or per field name rather, or variable name, we'll say. So then what we'll do is we'll go back to the instrument, or the data collection, excuse me, data dictionary. I'm going to go ahead and do that separately here. So my downloads.
So really, the only thing that you need to resolve are those ones in the red. The yellow ones, frequently people use those uh, label or those variable names and they let them get too big, or they have when they do the title or the label, I'm sorry, for the variable, they have the box checked that automatically creates the variable. So it just matches the label, which ends up a lot of times being over 26 characters. And again, the reason it's a warning is it doesn't matter to REDCap, but if you are uh, exporting into a statistics program frequently, they will not like more than 26 characters, and they will truncate the variable name. And then if you have a couple labels that are similar and you just have a word at the end or something and it gets truncated, all of a sudden you have variable names that are the same. So that's why they don't want you to, they're trying to warn you, please don't use more than 26 characters. But invariably, you don't really have to change anything because it's acceptable to REDCap. So
Okay, so what I
you
did,
only have to worry about those ones in red.
thank you, Terry. So what I did here, instead of looking at the branching logic, because of where the branching logic was located, I went ahead and deleted the instrument completely within the spreadsheet, and then I'll commit the changes. And so now we're back to um, our original forms prior to adding the instrument. And so we'll go ahead and create another snapshot. We'll go back into the project revision history, and we're going to look at our snapshots here and compare them again. Here's our current status. or our current development status rather in dictionary. And then what we're going to do, and this is the same as what this is. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and compare 2 points in time again. I'm going to click on this to compare with something else. And then what I see here is that so we have project field deleted. We have a different legend color and indicator. And we can look at all the fields that were deleted. And so if you're doing this in a production mode, this is equally useful and a value to review those changes before you actually submit them. When
But these are submitted.
Thank you, Carol. Good point. So okay, so again, I didn't show it in production mode. I showed it in development. So that's what I want to outline. I'm just saying from that point in production. So within development, we can still look at that and when making the comparison and decide whether or not we want to make those changes. Um, and that's basically what that is. And again, I would just want to point out that that's different than data dictionary revisions.